It's a big scale. How about you register? Yes, Karen and I, yeah, we're all set. We'll be there. Or you bring your material? Yes. We're all set. Thanks for setting it up. No, it's a great group. I love that. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yes, her name's Anna.
I was wondering. Yeah. So I have to do everything up there that I have. Great, I'll make sure you get that. Thanks, Scott. Oh, okay. Always gotta have 4 daughters. Going to the wife. Yeah. Yeah. So you learn how to shit the hell up. You know what? Matt Jones, director of DPS. Yeah, better to be here. Oh, but you learn. I think we've been in similar spaces over the years since I've been with DPS. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to share a little bit about myself, my connection to this town where my mom grew up and thought I was just and then reminding him that he encouraged him to my mom all that. Yeah. So excited about taking over as director. I don't know if I've done it. Yes, in this new role, but I started with general administration and moved into DPS when that consolidation happened and just came up through the ranks. And so before becoming director, I was the chief operations officer, overseeing a lot of that. So I've been working across the agency in a lot of spaces. So it certainly is. Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Oh, great. Yeah, great. Yeah. We're wonderful.
Yes.
She is.
Girl. Growing fast. Go by quick.
Okay. Did you meet Haley and Emma? Charles, did you meet Haley and Emma?
So we were the class, project, and one of them, and before the end of the semester, I get to attend, community service or I thought everything's done. BYU.
Why not dry?
I was on here. then I applied for an online program. So my husband graduated from the same university back in 2022. So then once he graduated, we moved out home.
Just, if you hold on to it, let me take a photo.
Really good grant. Scholarship plan, great. Motivation. Right. Very affordable.
And you're doing, in training.
So, I did. So they were advocating for online basically for children and youth, so making sure that children understand that they're not sharing information online, the dangers of, predators and things like that. Yeah, exactly, yes. I did my internship and they were really good.
My youngest is about.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's great. Nice. Yeah, that's what we do about it. Yeah, so I even if I internship online, right? I yeah. Oh. Are you working?
When you be at one.
Yeah. She was 1 ounce under 7 pounds. She was 19 and a half. I looked at yeah.
No problem.
I don't know. No, right. It seems like.
Not a baby anymore. Not a baby.
My very young, yeah, very 50.
Oh.
Your baby. My 6 every day. Bob?
I'll take it.
Yeah.
You'll take care of it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All good.
8, 9, 10, 11, 17.
Well, good afternoon. Welcome to our Kiwanis lunch on Veterans Day week. And Terry Kirkpatrick is going to lead us in the flag salute and provide an inspirational moment. Terry? Thank you.
You join me in the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you don't mind, I'm going to take you on a virtual scavenger hunt this morning. We'll call it a veterans scavenger hunt. And we're going to start from downtown Olympia on Legion Way. And you're going to go uphill on Legion Way. And after you cross East Side, on your right, you'll find Madison School. On your left, you'll find First United Methodist Church. And those of you who have been in that area that see that the trees go together across that road. Well, does anybody know where the trees came from? 1928, in a Veterans Day approach, the city of Olympia, with the help of the American Legion and the Veterans of Foreign Wars, decided they would plant trees to represent those that died in previous wars. And so there are 28 gum trees along there, name for name, for veterans of World War I. And there are 114 red oaks that represent people who died in the Civil War. That's the name you give it. And in the Spanish-American War. And so it's a particular area of importance to veterans in the city of Olympia. Well, 2 weeks ago, I don't know how many of you lost electricity. We didn't. But a tree blew over. One of those veterans fell on Legion Way. And it fell into the side of the United Methodist Church.
Oh, wow.
Within hours, the church was contacted by the Third Ward of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They showed up the next day with a truck and about 20 people. And in 3 days, they had it all cut up and trucked away. So that's part of your scavenger hunt. The next is a question. The trees went to 3839 11th Avenue Northwest. Anybody recognize that address? Okay, so you know that we've gone full circle. One of the veterans that fell is now out at our yard and will be firewood for next winter's people. So I'll give a pitch for that. In 1997, there was a big ice storm in downtown Olympia. That was the start of the firewood program in Olympia, Kiwanis, and the size that it is today. And in this last year, 24-25, at least if I get it right, since it goes past Sambreed's history, there were 89 cords of wood delivered to 76 families, and over 54 volunteers participated in producing that wood. So that's your scavenger.
Well, Terry, thank you for inspiration and history. So I'd like now to welcome our guests today. We have two distinguished state officials here today who will be introduced more as part of the program, but our Lieutenant Governor Denny Heck, who is here. Denny, can you wave? And Matt Jones, who is the Director of the Department of Enterprise Services. Looking forward to your presentation. I also have a guest today, Niket Kelcher. She's with the YWCA.
No, I'm with DES.
I'm sorry, what?
DES.
She's with
Yeah.
DES.
Yeah,
too.
I am.
Okay, good. We have a good representation from DES. And are there other guests here today? Oh, and we have staff here with Lieutenant Governor Heck and with Mr. Jones. So thank you all for coming too. So you can ask any question. So yes, Jonathan.
I'd like to introduce a guest who came here. This is Hannah, and Hannah is a student who is doing some audits of service clubs in our community, and so she decided to choose ours to complement her program at BYU Idaho, and she is with Emma. So welcome, Haley.
Another hand over here. Back.
Hi, Karen. I'm John Weisfeller, longtime member, but I've been very active for quite a while. I'd like to introduce Jim Campbell. Jim, please stand up. Jim has been appointed as the PUD Commissioner 1 for Linda Oosterman's seat. Linda moved out of state and the position came open. So Jim is looking to determine a club, and he does have a sponsor here in case he chooses this club.
Great.
Welcome. Linda was a longtime member, so since you're following in her footsteps, maybe we can give you an early welcome.
Thank
As a member. Okay.
This is Amber Harrison, and she is doing a college work study through Evergreen at the farm. So she helps with a lot of things around the farm very enthusiastically. This is now her third quarter working with the farm, so it's very nice to have her help.
Great, welcome.
So I'd like to introduce, my name is Rhonda Larson Kramer, and I'd like to introduce Tim Haffney, who happens to be my stepdad. So that's the most important part of that. He also is retired from the Veterans Administration as a social worker.
Nice to have so many guests. Anybody else? Not welcome, and we're glad you're here today. So anyway, everybody, welcome to our meeting today, the day before Veterans Day. And it's a week to express our great appreciation to veterans for their special and essential services to our country. So I'd like to invite anybody here who is a veteran or a spouse of a veteran to please stand so we can recognize you. Oh, and the mother of a veteran, yeah.
Absolutely.
Grandmother.
Okay, well, thank you, and thank you all for your service. So, and also, speaking, we want to recognize a few remembrances of club members today. As we know, Don Law, passed, and many of us here did attend his memorial gathering last weekend. And then sadly, Bob Peck, another longtime member, died within the last week. His service is tomorrow at 1 p.m. at St. John's Episcopal Church on Capitol Way. And there's a card going around, so please be sure you sign it. And if you could give it to me after it gets around, I think it needs to kind of go that way, yeah. I will be going. If there's somebody else who's going, you can take the card, but we want to be sure it gets there. So, and on the good news front, our dear friend Sam Hunt is out of the hospital, out of rehabilitative care, and is at home.
Oh, good.
Said he wasn't quite ready to come to go to, but we'll be seeing him sometime soon. So then next, I'd like to do a few club announcements. First of all, the garden committee. You know, we have three, for those who are guests, we have 3 gardens, and we grow fresh, excellent quality vegetables for the food bank. And the last report 2 weeks ago was that they had delivered 47,000 pounds of food to the food bank, compared to a recent 5-year average of 25,000 pounds, so 25 to 47. Well, I checked with them today. It's up to 53,000
Oh my
pounds now. So how about a hooray for the garden? On your tables, you know, last lunch, I passed out a sign-up list if you were active in a committee or if you're interested in a committee. And I left off a couple accidentally, and then I've added 2. So if you'd like to relook at the form, and if you want to add anything, please do, and put them on the table in the back before you leave. So, and everybody who said they were interested in something, I contacted the committee chair, and they are on the committee now. So we have a lot of new energy in some of our committees. Let's see. Okay, dates. You have your calendars. I want to take a few notes. November and December, things are a little different schedule-wise. So November 24 is our next regular lunch here at Tugboat Annie's. So that will, and then December 8th, which is the second Monday in December, there is no lunch meeting here because on December 12th, we're having our joint holiday lunch with Olympia Rotary. And this year it's at St. Martin's Worthington Center, which is a different location in the past few years. And there will be music by the Olympia High School Jazz Band and Chorus. And it's really outstanding. It's a really upbeat lunch, and I encourage everybody to go. Sam Reed's doing a lot of the coordinating on it. And so I assume we will be getting an email.
And it's December 8th. That's a Monday, right? December 8th.
Wait, the holiday lunch? Oh, wow. How did I get that wrong?
December 12th is a Friday.
How did I do that? Okay. So you got to watch me.
When's the meeting with Rotary?
December 8th.
Oh, it is.
I stand corrected.
Okay,
Yes,
it's just in Lacey instead of.
it's at St. Martin's.
Okay.
Yeah, December 8th. So then, oh, and there's always an auction at this lunch. And normally we auction off a few poinsettias, but this year we don't have those. So if anybody has something you'd like to suggest for an auction item, please let me know, or let Sam know. So now move on to what, December 16th. there's a question, do we want to have a meeting that day, a lunch meeting here that day or not? And the executive committee hasn't done any planning on this, so I think I'll take a show.
December 16th.
Okay,
Why do we need to?
we don't.
December 22nd.
December 22nd.
That's a Monday.
With December gets quite confused. Oh, Sam, what do you think? Yeah.
I would agree with the 22nd. That's our regular fourth
yeah.
Monday. Right?
The program committee has observed that people don't show up the week of Christmas. I mean, it's holiday season, so we've stopped holding meetings that week. The question is actually raised by Sean Myers. Do we want to meet a week prior, which is December 15th here? And anyway, and Karen's going to take a show of hands. I mean, our illustrious president is going to take a show of hands.
Okay, so I'm gonna check my calendar here, December 15th. Make sure we all are on the same page here. December 15th is a Monday. So could you raise your hand if you'd like to have a lunch meeting here that day and you think you might come? How about? Well, and I think that's enough to have a meeting. Yeah. Yeah, probably a smaller group, but so let's plan on it, December 15th here, and I'll talk to Stanton.
Program committee will get to work.
They have lots of programs in reserve here. Okay, so December 22, no meeting. And daffodil bulbs are still for sale. You can talk to Don Leaf. It's still time to plant them. So those are my announcements, and any others can probably be handled through Happy Dollars. So at this time, I'd like to move on to our program, and Dave Peeler will introduce our guests.
Well, good morning. Glad I'm here. I was busy this morning removing our exhibits from the Olympia Heritage and Alliance Museum, Karen. And I mentioned this because I was a little bit late. I wasn't sure I was going to be here to do the introductions, but also because I had to double park with my trailer in order to get stuff out of there. And guess what? The city of Olympia is so efficient, they gave me a ticket. Probably submitted that somehow for repayment. Okay, so today we have, as you already heard, Director Matt Jones, Department of Enterprise Services. Matt has been with Enterprise Services for actually since before it was Enterprise Services. It was General Administration, as many of you know, and Matt has been there since 2006. And he helped establish the Capitol Campus and Visitors Division and helped create the virtual civic education tour platform and Washington Agency Alerts, which sends out real-time alerts for the Capitol campus. Many of you are probably on that system and get alerts if there's an issue going on one way or another with construction or accidents or whatever. Matt was appointed interim chief operations officer in October 2024, and then Governor Ferguson's appointed him to be the interim DES director in January, and then director in July. So he's interim for a few months, and now is director. Bob Heck, probably an unknown to most of us here. Yes, he doesn't smile.
It's because that's not my name.
Lieutenant Governor Heck. How's that?
Said Bob.
Good night. Well, I think I'm sorry. You're right. Denny Heck. Now he's smiling.
Could agree to disagree.
We could. Denny Heck is the 17th Lieutenant Governor. He was first elected in 2020 to that position. And he is now the president of the Washington State Senate and chair of the Senate Rules Committee and the Legislative Committee on Economic Development and International Relations. Sounds pretty heavy duty. He also serves as acting governor whenever Governor Ferguson is out of state. And he's a member of the Governor's Council of Economic Advisors and previously served as a member of the Export-Import Bank of the United States. He also chairs the Capitol Campus Committee. Right? So we'll hear about that today.
Lieutenant Governor Denny Heck previously served as a first United States representative from Washington's 10th Congressional District. Some of you will probably remember that from several years ago. Prior to that, he successfully grew several small businesses in the state, co-founded the statewide public affairs network TVW, which we all enjoy so much, and was elected to the State House of Representatives for 5 terms, long time. After his time in the legislature, he served as chief of staff to former Governor Bill Gardner during Gardner's 2nd term. Lieutenant Governor Heck was born in Vancouver and graduated, wait for it, the Evergreen State College, Huidex, in 1973. He's been married since 1976 to Paula Heck. She's not here today, right? An educator who began a career as a teacher and retired as principal at Jefferson Middle School in Olympia. My daughter went to Jefferson Middle School. I'm sure she's much better off for having your wife be the principal there. So thank you both for agreeing to talk to us today about what's going on at the Capitol campus, and I'm going to turn that over to you guys to carry forward here.
Thank you, Dave. Actually, both my older brother, long since passed, and my son's names are Bob. I actually was honored by being confused for either of them. It's good to be back with you again. I was in my previous capacity here and speaking with you. I'll say briefly what I took a little more time to say that last time, which is this club gets stuff done and makes things happen in the community. And it's an incredible legacy of community building. Thank you, sincerely. Thank you for all you do to make this a better place to live. I'm so very grateful. I'm starting here. It's getting really, really hard for people to agree on much of anything in our country right now because of just the state of our political culture. But I think there's something that everybody in this room can agree on, which is that we are all very fortunate to live in the community of our state capital and in the presence of that magnificent Capitol campus. We're all grateful for that. The 143-acre Capitol grounds are among the most beautiful of all state Capitol campuses in America. For those of you who visited others, you know this to be a fact. Located there are multiple fountains, including the iconic Tivoli, 3 gardens, the Territorial Sundial, the Governor's Mansion, historic buildings, and 18 monuments or memorials. And on the day before Veterans Day, what an appropriate thing to remember. These are all places that afford those of us who choose to avail of them moments of quiet reflection on the sacrifices of those who came before, including those who paid their last full measure of devotion to this country. And on a personal note, one of those, not while there, but as a direct consequence of his service in uniform, that paid his last full measure of devotion, was my older brother, Bob. These are sacred places. And of course, the crown jewel of that campus is the legislative building, which at 287 feet tall is the tallest masonry dome building in all of North America. We started it in 1922, finished it in 1928, so we're coming up on the centennial celebration of it. And by the way, yes, it's going to get cleaned before the centennial, which it has to do periodically because of the nature of the materials. It was constructed in 1922 at the unbelievable cost, wait for this, $7.4 million. Now, it's literally irreplaceable. The materials aren't available, and the skilled artisans and laborers who dealt with the stone and masonry aren't available. And even if both those things were available, it would cost billions and billions of dollars for us to replace it. Every year, more than 100,000 people visit it, and more than 400,000 people congregate for events on the Capitol campus ground. But look, here's the deal. The legislative campus and the legislative building aren't just the tourist attraction, although I believe by the numbers, the most popular one between Seattle and Portland. No, much more importantly, The Capitol is actually a secular altar to our foundational belief in democracy. An ongoing symbol of our belief in self-rule, in our belief that humanity has a capacity to govern itself through the process of choosing our elected leaders through fair, open, and secure elections. It is meant to be a permanent symbol because our adherence to those values and those beliefs is itself permanent, not temporary. And it's why Sam Reed's predecessor, our friend Ralph, said about the Capitol building. And I've always remembered him saying this. I thought it was incredibly eloquent that the Capitol building should be so magnificent that no one working there would ever consider giving less than their very best. And it is why state government in general, but also everybody in this room, I believe, has a special responsibility to provide stewardship of that sacred space because it wasn't built for us. It wasn't built for the next 100 years as it has the last 100 years. It was built for the next 500 years. So permanent is that structure. So before I now turn this over to our exceptional director of DES, Matt Jones, I was so thrilled that he was named permanently to that position. I do want to mention one really exciting addition to the Capitol campus coming up. Has so much meaning. Like I suspect many of you in this room, Billy Frank Jr. was someone you knew of, respected, and was a friend. He was a dear friend of mine. Rest his soul. A few years ago, the legislature, to honor him, voted to place a statue of him in National Statuary Hall in Washington, D.C. to replace the one of Marcus Whitman. And oh, by the way, I get asked a lot, does that ever happen? Yes, it happens a lot. 9 in just the last many years have been replaced. For those of you who don't know Billy, know this. Pretty much for the first half of his life, he was kind of a troublemaker, or as my friend John Lewis used to say, getting into good trouble, protesting repeatedly to exercise his treaty fishing rights. He was arrested, often beaten 59 times, jailed many of those. Then he entered, by the way, the United States Marine Corps. Tomorrow being Veterans Day, it's important to recognize. After the Bolt decision, he became the ultimate peacemaker by helping to co-manage the resource. And one of the best things I ever heard said about Billy was said by my friend J.T. Wilcox, newly elected Tacoma Port Commissioner, who said, Billy Frank never engaged with negotiations with anybody, no matter how difficult, but that he wasn't able to get up from that table and shake their hand. That's who Billy became. And for all of this, Billy was awarded the highest civilian award that our nation has, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. He was awarded the Albert Schweitzer Global Humanitarian Award. He was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, all much deserved. Cannot think of a prouder symbol for us in the nation's capital than Billy Frank. The legislature appropriated the money. We hired Hai-Ying Wu to craft the statute, which is actually now at the Foundry. There are some pictures of what it will look like, seated at a riverside with fish, of course. And when it is finally through the Foundry process, it won't be an it will be a they, because one will go to the nation's capital and one will go in our state capital. The timeline for this being about September of next year, a little fluid, but that's about what we're looking for. It's been an incredible journey. I have the privilege to serve as the co-chair along with Representative Lacana and Willie Frank III, overseeing the statute process. It is a beautiful statute. He did a spectacular job. Having Billy in the nation's capital is something everybody in this room, every Washingtonian can be very proud of. And it will be fun to see him in our state capital as well. So with that, with information about a lot of other exciting developments on the Capitol campus, I turn this over to my friend, Matt Jones.
Hello, good afternoon. First, I want to say thank you to Lieutenant Governor. As always, I appreciate our partnership, friendships, and mentorship. I'm also very appreciative of the trust that Governor Ferguson has placed in me to lead such a great agency that I grew up in. And I'm really honored to be here with all of you today. A little bit about myself. I grew up in the state of Oregon, just west of Portland, in a small rural town at that time called Hillsborough. But I have deep, deep family roots in this community. It was a privilege of mine to be able to move to Thurston County as an adult after college and start a career in public service, first with the Olympia School District and now with the state of Washington. My mom's family have been longtime residents here, graduates of Olympia High School. So to me, coming up on weekends, coming up for vacations, holidays, getting off at the Capitol exit to go through town, to come to the west side to visit my grandparents and my extended family here. Truly a privilege to be able to go through the tunnel on 14th and see that dome right there poking out. Every time I came through town, it gave me chills. Now as director of DES, which has statutory authority for care and custody of the Capitol campus, boy, is that a tremendous privilege for me professionally to lead this agency that does that work, and personally for this community. I share in the reverence with the Lieutenant Governor that campus, which is the largest Capitol campus complex in the country by acres, over 3 million square feet of parking facilities, 1.5 million square feet of office space. But most importantly, it's a symbol of our representative democracy. It is where people can come and engage with their government. And here at DES, we have the responsibility to ensure the continuity of government and the peaceful assembly of activities, whether we agree or disagree with that content. I also just want to say a special thank you, knowing that tomorrow's Veterans Day, for all those that have served and those that are connected to those that serve. I have family that have served in multiple branches. So I sincerely extend my appreciation to those that have served for this country. So with that, I'll jump in. So today we're going to talk a little bit. So a portion of our agency delivers capital projects for the Capitol campus. You may see large cranes around the Capitol building. We are updating and replacing and enhancing legislative facilities on the Capitol campus. First, I'll start off with the Temple of Justice. This building houses our state Supreme Court. We went through a substantial rehabilitation project, including HVAC, plumbing, lighting, fire alarm systems, as well as security upgrades for the building. This has been long overdue. It's a building that had been neglected for some period of time. There was damage to some of the historic wood, all sorts of things going on. And this is a place not only where our Supreme Court justices hear cases and make decisions, there's also law libraries and other spaces within the facility. And so this was a critical upgrade that we successfully delivered. We delivered it on time, And even getting the Supreme Court back into that space, we provided assistance to get them back in about half the amount of time that we had planned for that move. This was an exciting project for DES. This is part of our legislative campus modernization project. This building, Irving, our new house, was a replacement of the new house building that was there on site. The original facility was supposed to be a temporary facility and last only 30 years. Boy, did that last a whole lot longer than 30 years. This is a testament to new engineering and sustainable engineering. I'm really excited that the teams were able to deliver on energy efficiencies. It is an all-electric building. You can see the solar plant panels on top. 20% of the energy going into that building, consumption-wise, comes from those solar power panels. There's also a lot of sustainable wood products and other things. And then you can see that Doug fir tree on the side. That's a historic tree on the Capitol campus. We were able to figure out ways with the great team of consultants, architects, engineers on how to preserve that while constructing this new facility for the state senate. We're also right now under construction, and this is what that big crane right now on campus is working on, which is the Joel Pritchard building expansion and renovation. We've taken down the old library stacks, and now we have a whole new structure coming up behind it, which you can see in the rendering to your right. This will house legislative agencies, including House of Representative office space. And these projects are really exciting to me. This is a space where people can go in and meet with their elected officials. And it's also a place where they get to show off. A portion of every capital project that we do includes artwork when we're talking about a new building like this. So when we look at new house, you can see on the exterior, there's some artwork as you walk into that building. Then on the interior, you see a lot of reclaimed wood done in artistic format. And I'm excited to see what comes in the Pritchard building as well. Here you can see updated HVAC, new HVAC going in, and some other work, mechanical, roofing, and other stuff that our team of contractors are currently working on. It was also a great privilege to take the Lieutenant Governor on a tour through this building, of course, asking great and tough questions as always. There will be a cafe space in there. And one of the unique features of this building is that whole original front that is historic. We were able to figure out ways with our partners on how to keep that historic facade, make it reusable, and blend it into the new architecture and have it all fit within the stature of the historic West Campus. This is an exciting thing. It's something that happens from a construction standpoint. It's called the topping out ceremony. So a lot of us came and signed the beam, and then we're able to watch the last steel beam go into place. The O'Brien building will also begin renovation after the end of the upcoming legislative session. So this one will take about 8 months to complete, renovating the top 2 floors of the building to expand member offices as some of those folks go to the new Pritchard building. So to the Lieutenant Governor's comments regarding memorials on campus, this is a big deal for me. It is a place of remembrance as well on the Capitol campus for those the state values most. We are working towards building out a fallen firefighter memorial. We do have a law enforcement memorial on campus that overlooks Capitol Lake. And so we're moving forward on a path to design and build a fallen firefighter memorial. It'll honor the bravery and sacrifice of those that have lost their lives. This is an annual event that occurs on the Capitol campus right now. You've driven by the campus on these days, you see the fire trucks up, their ladders out, a large American flag hanging down as they honor those that have passed. So the location you can see here where the red star is will be just north of the north diagonal, in a space where we typically have that event. So I'm really excited that we have space on the campus for this, in a space that's effective for remembrance year-round, as well as to support their annual event and have it prominently placed on the West Campus. And this is also another exciting, I will say, a bit painful for my agency, turning into something that's exciting. And I've had the opportunity to have several conversations with the Lieutenant Governor, who knew Senator Cal Anderson well. And I appreciate the wisdom, not only that Senator Cal Anderson provided to colleagues and people of this state, as well as the history that the Lieutenant Governor has been able to share with me. So it is a place of pride, where we are now building a new memorial for Senator Cal Anderson. It used to be a tree on the east side of the legislative building with a small plaque. And now we're building this into something great, to remember such a great man and a great hero to this state. Senator Cal Anderson was the first openly gay senator, legislator, a Vietnam War veteran, championed inclusive, accessibility, and just a tremendous man of character. So this memorial that's going in for Senator Cal Anderson will be next to the sunken garden. And you can see the rendering here. We did a great job of stakeholdering this project. We were able to bring in Senator Cal Anderson's partner, members of state government, and others to really figure out the rightful place and what would truly honor the senator's legacy. This is a contemplative space. And I personally am really excited for this to be built out so I can sit there, channel the thoughts, and turn that into action for the people of the state. It'll be right next to the sunken garden, just to the east of it, with great views of the Capitol and the historic lawn. There'll be a boulder with polished stone, with some writing on it, lots of vegetation, a curved bench, where hopefully we see people gather, connect with each other, come together. So to me, this is some of the finest work that we as DES could do. We also are working on the Deschutes Estuary Restoration Project, which is now Capitol Lake. And we are returning it to an estuary. We've been working on this project for a number of years. Actually, I can tell you in different ways. My entire 19-year state career, we've been working through these processes. So you can see some conceptual renderings. We are partnering with the Department of Ecology. They're taking lead on this project, and we're providing the public works portions of this project. And this adjustment to the project has been exceptional. We've been doing a great job of keeping on schedule, on budget, and we near and will complete 60% design for the estuary by the end of the calendar year. some ongoing projects that we have at DES. We'll walk through a little bit. We are moving forward with demolition of the GA building. We're close to. It's been a long uphill climb. We will be saving portions of the structure, and the state seal up there will be coming down and will be saved. But we are excited, and this project is also coming in under budget. The old Capitol building down by Sylvester Park, built in 1892. This houses the office of the Superintendent of Public Instruction. We're replacing the failing roof and associated infrastructure for completion next year. This is exciting. The Lieutenant Governor briefly mentioned the upcoming centennial. And I'm really excited. I'm championing our agency to help lead the efforts relative to centennial program to celebrate our Capitol building. We were funded for a project of skylight restoration. This is both over the House and Senate chambers. They were covered in the 70s. But really excited that we're able to peel some of that back and restore the building to its rightful nature. We also have a number of projects in the legislative building. The HVAC system, so heating and cooling, has failed in the building. We firefight it almost every day. So we were funded for a project to repair and improve heating, cooling, and ventilation, which we expect to be done by the end of 2028. We're also working on a campus energy system to replace the powerhouse down by Capitol Lake. We want to take advantage of new technologies and really push the envelope from an energy perspective. So with that, I want to say thank you to all of you. I appreciate being here today.
Well, thank you for exceptionally informative presentations, but now we have time for a couple of Q&As. So,
Oh, sure.
would you like to both come back up?
Oh, sure. Sure.
We're always full of questions. Well, first. Go ahead.
Okay, I haven't been on campus very often in the last, well, since I retired from here. But I noticed that one of the events that I attended recently, there's this really, really unattractive building to the west of the Temple of Justice. What in the world is that? Oh, it's gone away.
So it could be a number of things. One, we have a temporary building in the mansion lot, which is just to the west. That will go away. So that is a temporary office building for the legislature. Right now, the code revisor's in there. And it's to house those that are being displaced from the construction we have from the new house building, the Pritchard building, and the O'Brien renovation. So as soon as those projects are wrapped up, that building will go away. Okay.
Well, we have so many questions.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask if there's a plan in the works for a replacement structure where the GA building sits after it's taken down.
No. But we pushed hard to take it down because it's the ugliest building in the history of Western civilization. Not representative of any form of architecture we're keeping in perpetuity. I will say this, what I have advocated for, and we'll see whether or not my point of view prevails, is that whatever building is eventually placed there needs to have a very large component of public use and public accessibility, like another cafe, like the auditorium the old GA building had, like exhibits. This campus belongs to the people of this state. And let me tell you this, Dave, if the legislature, in its lack of wisdom, were to construct a cubicle farm on that site,
They all ought to be unelected.
I just like to mention, Sam and I tried to get something like this for about a decade. It's very hard. Go from side to side.
Yes, okay. I'm one of the people who actually works at the Capitol. I actually work out of the Irv Newhouse building, the new one. And there was a picture of my office that I just saw there on the screen. Now, I've got a question. Basically, I think that the attitude that I hear from most of my coworkers and also from members is, it's a beautiful building on the inside, but what a missed opportunity on the outside. Why can't we have that same sort of classical architecture that we have throughout the Capitol campus of the original buildings? Why can't we preserve that in the new buildings that we erect on the campus? Now, I do know that there are some rules to talk about consistency of color and cornice height, but I'm talking about something a little bit more like what we saw in the House and Senate office buildings across from the Capitol. Why can't we do that?
Yeah, so great question. I would say there's been lots of stakeholder engagement. There's a legislative project executive team that's been part of the project all the way along. So as the buildings have gone through pre-designs, design, and so they've been directly engaged with the architecture firms that we've hired. They've reviewed the renderings and things like that. And so there has been that opportunity of engagement back and forth. I would also share that the consultants have always kept in mind, at the forefront of their minds, the ability to update and keep that classic look and feel. So yes, there's a balance there that was struck. It's very similar to the balance we're going to see with Pritchard. But I appreciate those comments, and we'll take that back to our teams.
Ask your bosses. It's the legislature that always cheaps out on doing it right. It's not anybody else. But the truth is, Eric, as I said in my opening remarks, we don't have the labor to replicate those other buildings. We don't even have access to the materials to replicate those other buildings. I am one that constantly urges, if there's ever a capital project where you basically fund the very best you can, it is anything built on Capitol campus. But having said that, I actually think that building, while not being the same as those others, rhymes with those others as good as could be expected for the materials that were used. But for example, the Pritchard building, you notice that on the Newhouse building, you've got Ashley, help me out. What are they called? Solar panels.
Yeah.
Very complex subject. They're not going to be on the Pritchard building. Why? They cheaped out. They always cheap out because they don't want to be accused of having spent so much money on themselves. They're not spending it on themselves. They're spending it for the next 500 years, and they ought to do it every chance they get.
Having served on the Capitol Campus Design Advisory Committee for over 20 years, I'd say one thing I learned is from architects on it, that there are kind of two theories of design for places, campuses over time. And one is you make all the buildings look alike. And the other is you build each building according to the design at the time, you know, the decade of whatever that's being built. So it's two theories on it. That, as you say, they tried to reach a compromise. So over here, here.
I just wanted to comment. I've been walking around that campus for the last 16 years, and it kind of went into ill repair maybe about 5-6 years ago. Whatever you guys have done, it's just magnificent now. I mean, grounds are so much better. The gardens are great. Kudos to your crew. Yeah, thank you. And your leadership. Yeah, just a brief comment on that. It is a sense of pride for me and for our teams. We pivoted the agency very hard to embrace campus stewardship, to the point where I'm funding a new position within my agency relative to campus stewardship, so that it can be programmatically built out across the agency and institutionalized in DES. Just so that we have that, just what you shared, universally across the board.
We're short on time, so about short question, short answer.
I'll just put it another way.
You already asked me.
Where the visitor center once was at the corner of, I think 14th and Capitol, is a new parking lot with electric. As a resident who lives in Olympia year round, I'm curious how you utilize the campus in the interim for the community. I noticed those spots are often empty, and that's one example, but what are other ways you bring in the community when the space isn't being used, for active governance of
Yeah,
the budget?
yeah, love this question and I appreciate that feedback. That's feedback that I'll take back to my teams and have a better answer for you. A lot of the parking on West Campus is reserved for employees. It's available for use by anyone after hours, weekends, holidays, things like that. The North Diagonal, South Diagonal are visitor parking now. And we're still working at that, right? So that new parking lot, the Capitol lot that you're referring to, is a legislative occupied parking area. But we're working to understand parking better on campus, how to make it more friendly for everybody involved, and what other opportunities there are. So thank you.
What's gonna happen to the 2 Marcus Woodland statue?
The one in Washington DC is going to be sent to Whitman County. The one that is in the state capitol, that decision has not yet been made. In fact, we may or may not be making our recommendation next week at the state cap, is that this week or next week? This week. I knew that. I'm only the chair. We may or may not reach agreement on a recommendation on what to do with it. If I had to guess, and it's only a guess, nobody hold me responsible for this because I haven't talked to all the members of CDAC or even the other 3 members of the State Capitol Committee. I think the one that is the likeliest candidate, which I don't say with real high confidence, absent those conversations, would be that where he is now will be replaced by Billy, and he would be placed in the southern portico, so that it would be there at the entrance to the Ledge building. But that's not a done deal.
There was some vandalism at the top. I was wondering the status of the restoration of the carpets and things that were damaged.
Yeah, thank you. The break-in that occurred on October 5th was very painful. Not only was somebody able to breach the Capitol building, but get all the way into the building, break the glass doors into the state reception room, which is, in my opinion, the most historic place on campus, at least for me. The individual set fire to an American flag and a state flag on the historic rug, as well as set fire to the piano bench, which did cause some damage to the piano. So our teams are working with historic preservation partners such as Secretary of State's office, Historical Society, and others on how best to make repairs. There was also, as part of the floor getting damaged, it also damaged the teak floor underneath. So we're also working through that. So we're engaged with our campus conservator and others to determine the best way to make repairs. We've replaced all the broken glass, and there's some other work going on in the background.
Okay, last question.
Can you take us on a timeline of how much longer we can enjoy Capitol Lake?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, right. So part of, there's a lot of things going on relative to this project, right? So we'll hit 60% design by the end of the calendar year. But additional funding for this project is needed. So the timeline really depends on what funding comes along, both from federal funding through grants and other means, as well as state funding. So right now, that's kind of
We don't know.
Enjoy it, Terry.
So here's what I would keep an eye on, as Matt alludes to. It's really about money.
Yeah.
And if you want to be a discerning evaluator of the direction, then understand it's not just the money to take out the bridge, not just the money to take out the dam. It's also money for dredging over a period of time. And the cost to do this is very, very high. Now, lots of people have concluded we should do that, that's worth it. But just don't read the newspaper article that says it's going to be X if it doesn't include dredging of the lake, which is required in order for that project to actually work. Just to give you an idea, we're talking hundreds of millions over the decades.
I would also add there's competing priorities to the state level.
Yeah.
We've seen federal impacts, right? And there's needs for housing and other things. Water quality in the Puget Sound is critically important. We're fully supportive of the project, providing technical assistance. But there is a lot of budgetary challenges the state faces. And so that's where the timeline may adjust.
Thank you.
I'd like to say a special thank you for that. Governor Denny Heck and Matt Jones, Director of Department of Enterprise Services. I think we're all quite well informed now. Thank you very much. So let's move on to our happy dollars.
Well, I'm happy. That's not why I'm up here. Two committee announcements. One, the program committee is meeting Tuesday, the 18th at the Casa Mia at Plum and 8. Do you have ideas for good programs? Talk to Dave Peeler or me or one of the members of the committee. Members of the committee, hold up your hands, please. Yeah, talk to any one of these people. So the second, and Karen mentioned this, is Bob Peck Memorial Service, 1 p.m. tomorrow at St. John's Episcopal Church, which is 20th and Capitol Way. I'll follow up Karen's remark by pointing out that she and I worked the heck out of it. And in 2007, we got a bill through to demolish the General Administration Building and build a Heritage Center, which meets Denny's good criteria. 46-1 in the Senate was Mark Chesler only voted against it, and 82-12 in the House, and moved ahead, got the construction company, got all approved it when the recession hit. 2009 legislature put it on ice and then it's never come out. Anyway, see, I'm not happy about that.
Yeah.
Sean Myers, Club Treasurer. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor Heck and Mr. Jones, for your presentation today. I had the privilege of working in one of the 4 executive offices under the dome, and it was grand. There's my happy dollars, $5. I also, we have a partnership with the South Sound Reading Foundation, and we need some donated books for our program speakers to sign. I'm almost out, so if you have some gently used books, or if you want to purchase some books, mostly children's books. Today I had Lieutenant Governor sign this book. It was a class I took last Friday or Thursday night at the Bayview School of Cooking. And it was done by Chris Hyde. Some of you may know he's the Super Sunday guy who cooks soup and gives it away to people that need it. It's a children's book. It's called Recipes for Hungry Animals. And to my favorite vegetarian, where'd she go? She left. Oh, there are no animal products in this cookbook. Thank you.
Very good. And for members and for guests, Lieutenant Governor Heck and Pat, I wanted to bring your attention to the Kiwanis Club of Olympia uses a portion of the East Capitol campus for a food bank garden. We've done that since 2008, 2009. And this year, we're a little over 8,200 pounds of vegetables from the garden. This spring, we harvested onions. Since summer, we did garlic. And later in the summer and in the fall, we harvested winter squash, potatoes, and carrots. And we appreciate the opportunity to use that land. And Matt for, Bryn Chapman and Nathan Bryn, as we appreciate Eric. We appreciate those help. Thank you.
Let's start with a question. How many people know what this means? Well, you better listen closely then, because they may be coming to get you. This is the universal sign for sharks in the area. Sharks. And supposedly we have seen a few of them in Puget Sound. And this means get out of the water, but not necessarily fast. Go slow and easy. Don't stir up the water. So I was very important to learn about this when I was out in Florida. And fortunately, I did not get bitten by sharks.
Okay.
Bob Lean. I have a happy dollar for the Marine Corps. It's their birthday. My other dollar is for my dad, who was in the Air Force.
Dave Keeler here again. So I have a happy dollar for Bob Peck, even though we're sad. We're going to be going to his memorial service tomorrow. But I did want to mention that his wife had asked, well, you all probably already know that Bob was the guy that was behind building 4, now complete, and 5, not quite complete, miniature tugboat replicas of real tugboats. The 4 are all on trailers. We towed them in parades in the summertime and other events. His wife asked me if we would kindly bring the 4 tugs that are on trailers and park them in front of the church on Tuesday. So if you're planning to get there before we get there with a bunch of tugboats, please don't park right in front of the church. I checked it out. There is a parking lot on the backside. And of course, it's in the Capitol neighborhood with narrow streets, so there's not really a lot of parking in that area, but please don't park right in front of the church. And happy dollars for Bob. He was, if you've ever looked at those tugs closely, the mini tugs, they're built with meticulous care. He got plans for real tugs and then brought them down to 1/4 scale or something like that for each of the tugs. And if you look at it closely, you'll see that kind of meticulous time that went into each one of them. So a lot of thanks for Bob for the work he did on those. And really for for the community here for all those years.
Well, last happy dollar is to be sure we all have our dates straight. Okay, yeah, November 20, and edits and corrections.